Hello, this is Robert Lyons, the chemistry and physics teacher at Westside High School in Wyoming County, West Virginia. This soundproofing activity was a project-based learning activity that I did with my physics class last semester, and this class was given a charge to create a soundproofing material or a soundproofing barrier that could be utilized in an apartment complex to allow the sounds from one apartment to not travel through to another apartment, or to at least reduce the amount of sound that would be able to go from one side of the wall to another. The students were told that they also had to follow the local building codes of the particular area that they were going to build this apartment complex in. So the students were put into groups. Each group then did a Thinkfinity activity that actually went through and introduced the different properties of waves, how the different properties were similar from one form of a wave to another, and then the students had to research the different types of waves, different types of mediums that the waves would travel through, and then specifically apply those types of knowledge that they gained in their research to use for the different types of materials that they may want to use for soundproofing the apartment. Upon learning of what they wanted to use with their different materials, they had to build a hypothesis, or come up with a hypothesis, that actually stated what they thought the best type of material would be and the most cost-effective material that could be used. Students then had to come up with some way of doing empirical research to test that hypothesis and collect data so that they could provide proof of what their different hypotheses would actually state. Students also had to come up with a cost-effective method, so they had to do a cost analysis of what it would cost to soundproof the different rooms in a particular size apartment that we had discussed in class. Upon finishing their research, the students had to come up with a way of measuring sound here in the room itself. And then, after they got the speed of sound, the students had to take that and then apply it to their material to see if that material that they had come up with and were saying was a good cost-effective way of soundproofing the room would actually slow down sound as it would travel through the barrier, or completely stop it from traveling through. What would the results actually turn out to be? So each group, and there were 4 groups in all, each had their own particular method that they thought would be the best way to soundproof these walls. Upon doing all of their research, the students tested their different hypotheses, and then they had to use their cost analysis and build a presentation to present to a panel of judges, and that panel included the school principal, the local school board president, a teacher representative from the school, and then a parent representative that came in, and all 4 of those decided to sit in on the panel for the presentations. The school board president actually asked the kids a question: was their methods actually plausible, because his son turned out to be building a house at the time that we actually did this PBL, and upon seeing the research that he saw with this, he actually took that information and passed it on to his son, and his son did utilize one of those methods in putting different types of sound barriers from one room to another in his particular house. So to sum it up, we actually finished this with the waves, introducing it with the Thinkfinity activity and showing the different parts of waves and how the characteristics interact with each other. And then the students had to do their own empirical research to prove what would be the best way that they could come up with to soundproof a room for an apartment complex.